Today we're going to be making stuffed bell peppers, and it's a Trim Healthy Mama meal. Now you have an option of making this as an S meal or an E meal, and tonight I'm going to be making it as an E meal. So this week I'm going to be trying a lot of different new recipes from Trim Healthy Mama's cookbook. And I'm kind of excited about it. I found several recipes that I really have enjoyed, so I kind of have been doing the same ones over and over. But this week I chose a bunch of new ones that just sounded absolutely terrific. So I hope you'll join me as I film this week. I'm going to be filming all the different nights dinners that I'm going to be making on Trim Healthy Mama, and hopefully you'll find something that you really enjoy as well. So we're going to be making an e-meal today with the turkey, the low-fat mozzarella, and the quinoa. So let's get started. So we're going to start off today by cooking our lean turkey. And I've had this thawing in the refrigerator all night, so it's all ready to cook up. And as soon as we get our turkey cooked, then we're going to be adding our tomatoes. Now, this recipe calls for 1 can of diced tomatoes. I'm actually going to be using some fresh Abe Lincoln tomatoes out of my garden. I just thought those would come out really good. So let me get chopping those, and while this turkey is starting cooking, and then we'll be adding that to our turkey. Now you can peel your tomatoes if you like. I'm actually going to be just chopping mine up. These are just such beautiful tomatoes. I just love these Abe Lincolns. They are my favorite tomato to grow. I found these about 5 years ago, and since I've grown these, I just absolutely love them. Now I also grow Roma tomatoes and cherry tomatoes and several other different varieties, but these are my favorites. I don't need to do anything to these. I don't need to cook them ahead of time. All I need to do is cut them up and put them right into my dish. So I've got a couple Roma tomatoes that I'm going to be adding to this as well. I have my quinoa cooking on the stove, and all I'm doing now is just browning my ground turkey. All right, I've drained off all of my liquid from the ground turkey. So I'm going to be putting in what's equivalent to a can of diced tomatoes. These are actually fresh tomatoes out of my garden. I'm going to be putting in a cup of quinoa. And I'm also going to be adding my seasoning. So this is a teaspoon of Italian seasoning and just some salt and pepper. And we're going to cook these up together. And then we're going to use this as our stuffing for our stuffed peppers. Now you want to leave your liquid from your tomatoes in. You know, if you're using canned tomatoes, you want to leave that liquid in here because the quinoa will actually absorb a lot of that liquid. Boy, that sure smells wonderful. All right, so we're going to let this cook for a few minutes as we get our peppers ready. Now my peppers have been all washed. These are Azure peppers that I'm using. These are peppers that I grew out of my garden. Now they're not as large as a green pepper, but we are going to cut them down the sides. And we're going to take out the insides, and we're going to stuff these little peppers. They are going to come out really, really good. These are a sweet pepper. They're super flavorful. And I think on some of these, I'm going to leave the tops on, so it'll make more of a boat. There you go. Yeah, that works a lot better. then we have a little bit more area that we can stuff our peppers with. So I'm gonna go ahead and get these all ready while our mixture finishes cooking. And then we're gonna stuff these and put them in a preheated oven at 375. So I love meals like this, and the main reason is because I can make them ahead of time. I have a super busy day today. I've had the grandkids all week long, and today's my last day with them. I want to really have a lot of fun. We're going to swim. We have some different things planned. So I'm going to have all this cooked ahead of time, so all I have to do is heat it up after they get here. Now, the other thing I really like is that I can cook these, and then when it's time to, make like a second meal, I'm just going to put these in another pan, and I'm going to have these for another meal. It just makes it super, super simple. Now, I'm going to put a little bit of extra filling in on the top of these after I get everything all laid out. But this is how they're gonna work. We're gonna actually be able to eat a couple of these, several of these, however many we want actually. They're very healthy. The quinoa is a really nice option instead of the, instead of having rice or what have you. So I'm gonna go ahead and fill these up. And then I also can save that the inside of the, the filling. I can put that in a Ziploc bag and save it for a later date. And then all I have to do is stuff my peppers. So I'm gonna put these really close together so that I can top these with a lot of this extra filling. I wish you could smell it. This Italian seasoning just gave it the most wonderful smell. And because these are a little bit more skinny, I have to really think about how I lay these out in the pan. I don't want them all falling over. All right, let me put a couple more of these in. And then I'm gonna put some together for another night and freeze them just like this. All right, I'm gonna leave it at that. And the reason is because I've got the equal amount of peppers in here. So I'm just gonna leave it right like that. Take a little bit of extra filling, and I'm just gonna put this right over the top. Because I don't care if they're kind of dripping all over the place, because you know what? We'll figure out how to get them apart. And this filling is really healthy. Not like you're having a big filling that's not. All right. So that looks great. Now I'm gonna put on a half of a cup of low-fat mozzarella cheese. I'm just gonna drip it right over the top. There you go. There's our stuffed peppers. We're going to go ahead and put those in a preheated oven at 375 and bake those. And the rest of these I'm going to put in another pan, probably a throwaway pie pan. That way I can cover it with foil and plastic and just stick it in the refrigerator for another night. And there you go, a second meal that I'm gonna stick in the freezer. I'm just gonna let this cool for a little while. I'm gonna cover it with foil. Then I'm gonna cover the whole thing with plastic. I'll label it, and we'll have that for another night. Well, my peppers came out absolutely gorgeous. My whole house smells just, oh yeah, that Italian seasoning and those fresh tomatoes. These beautiful fresh peppers. This is going to be a really good dinner. So I went ahead, like I said, I cooked the whole thing. I'm going to serve this with a simple salad tonight. I'm not really going to have to do anything. When the kids leave, I'm actually going to take these and just kind of throw them in the microwave for a minute or two just to heat them up. and that's going to be dinner. And I am super thrilled to have this and have it available tonight and enjoy my day. So if you haven't heard of Trim Healthy Mama, check it out. There's all kinds of good information online. I've got all of the cookbooks, well, not all of them, but I've got 2 of the cookbooks and the starter book listed in my Amazon store, also from the Trim Healthy Mama website. So if you're interested, check them out. I've lost 60 pounds today, a little bit over 60 pounds to date, and it's going really well. So if you're not a subscriber, please consider subscribing to my channel. Give me a like, a thumbs up, or ring that bell for future notifications, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.